Stay dandy, baby. Prepare to be set ablaze by the magician ninja Kashin Koji in the latest episode of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations. I'll go ahead and say this right now. I'm very excited for the coming arc of the series, as it's the real first official major Kara arc of the series. That's not to say that everything with Victor and Deepa wasn't, but this is the first one that's going to be a straight adaptation of things that we've actually seen from the manga version. I'm going to go ahead and just put up a casual spoiler warning right now. It's going to be really hard for me to not want to talk about some of the manga events when talking about this current episode, as there are some major additions to the series, such as the backstory of Mugino. Not only that though, but we finally get to catch up with the other members of Kara and what they're going to do about their blimp going down and how they're going to try and get their vessel back. Not to mention a tense confrontation between two members of the Kara organization. So let's go ahead and dive in. I am talking about 2 episodes today, and the first one is pretty much all Mugino's backstory, which is actually kind of cool. I like it, mostly for the fact that we get to see the return of the 3rd Hokage, who, of all the Kages, aside from Kakashi, because I'm a huge Kakashi fanboy, was probably my favorite Hokage. And a lot of that is probably due to nostalgia because, you know, I've been reading and watching Naruto since like the early 2000s. So he's a character that really stuck out for me. But essentially we get to learn that at one point, Mugino was actually a young assassin who was actually hired to kill the 3rd Hokage. And this attempt, of course, did not go well. You're not just going to assassinate the Hokage with a friggin' butter knife. And this is another great scene that highlights why the 3rd Hokage was such an amazing person. Even someone who was trying to kill him, he ends up having a little bit of sympathy and empathy for them and ends up actually helping out Mugino and giving him a proper life, knowing that he doesn't have a family, and he allows him to join Konoha Village and to eventually become one of its top tier ninja. Now, what is remarkable is we get to go back in time here and see that this was actually at the period right before Orochimaru decided to come to the village and fuck shit up, and basically Mugino was completely influenced by this guy, but never really had another opportunity to meet him, but he was able to sort of still be influenced by his, well, influence. And a lot of that is because of Konohamaru, and that's how these 2 characters ended up becoming good friends, and why they have such a sort of like tight relationship with one another, as they were basically the same age during all of these events, so they got to grow up with the influence of this amazing character. So yeah, that episode, while it was very simple, was a very interesting look into the character of Mugino, and it also established that he's not exactly a man when it comes to possessions. He can live without the finer things in life. He lives in a really crap hole apartment, but boy does it have one hell of a view of Mount Hokage. That's pretty friggin' awesome. We also get to see that he's also kind of a cheap wad. He skips out on all of his, meal deals all the time. That's just something that he does. He doesn't like to pay for his food. Every single time he goes to a restaurant, right as he's about to pay, he says he's been called on an important mission, and he bolts the hell out of town. It's mostly played for laughs, but it's also tied into the storyline about Boruto, who's trying to get a present for his mother, Hinata, and it is also worth mentioning that there is a crucial scene here. It might not seem crucial now, but basically what's going on here is we get to see that Himawari has gotten a vase for her mother. Just trust me when I say that this is actually going to be important later on. Aside from that, most of this episode was just that, the backstory of Mugino. The next episode, however, is where things get immediately more interesting, as we have a number of really big events which are actually going on. The first one is that we have Mugino and Konohamaru, who are actually going to be going after the blimp and try to find out what its contents are inside. And at the end of the episode, they do find them right as they're about to be attacked by a mysterious assailant who sounds kind of puppety, if you know what I mean. But most of this episode is actually dedicated to Boruto and his father Naruto having a sparring match, which, I'm gonna be perfectly honest, it's okay. I felt like the animation could have been a lot better during this sequence, but it featured a really major event for this entire arc right here, which is the fact that Professor Katosuke has invented this brand new prosthetic hand, which looks borderline realistic, by the way, but it's also like a glorified scientific ninja tool. It looks really unassuming on the outside, aside from some of the weird markings, but he took a lot of influence from Momoshiki, and he has actually created this hand, which has the ability to absorb jutsu. Yes, that's pretty freaking awesome. And Naruto decides to use this against his son, which is kind of like, you know, a kick to the balls in some senses. And this is all because he gave his son Boruto such a hard time during the Chunin exams for also using a scientific ninja tool, but that was a competition. He was technically cheating during that moment. Here, things are a little different. Not only does he get to test out this brand new weapon, but he also gets to see how far Boruto has actually come with his training, which, despite the fact that he does have some surprises up his sleeve, like the fact that he can now use water style, there's not really much to this battle outside of Naruto just completely outclassing his son, but he does it in a pretty cool and very Naruto way, where basically Boruto's trying to attack him with this massive wall of water and using lightning style on it to basically just, completely electrocute his father. Luckily, Naruto uses, earth style to bring up like a giant wall, and he punches his fist directly through the wall. Now, then suddenly Naruto just appears behind him, and that's because he actually removed the prosthetic hand, which is stuck in the wall, and is continuously sucking up all of the water and electricity, allowing him to basically attack from two places at once. This, of course, pisses off Boruto just a little bit because he sees the irony in the fact that his father had to use a scientific ninja tool, but eventually he does accept it, but still is kind of pissed off over this. But really, the biggest scene of this entire episode has got to be the big meeting between Kara and all the other members, and we get to see that Jigen has told all of them that the vessel has crashed, they have to get it, and that someone is just going to have to be responsible for all these things that are going on here. And Victor, of course, is shitting his old man pants, knowing that basically he's going to be caught here. There's not much more that he can actually do, and he's basically one-upped by this other brand new member who goes by the name of Kashin Koji, or just Koji. And I loved him in the manga. I love him here. He's just got a really cool, unique design. Still kind of keeping that whole Akatsuki look with the cloak, but I love the fact that he has this like weird sort of like carnival mask. It makes him really mysterious and kind of magician-like. I just think that's really awesome. And since the blimp sort of like fell near Konoha Village, apparently this is under his jurisdiction. This is where he is, and he even mentions himself that his fate is linked to Konoha Village. Manga fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But the fact of the matter is, everybody in Kara is kind of upset over these events, knowing that things could go really wrong from here, and they pretty much put all of the blame on Victor. They do not like this guy at all. I mean, let's face it though, Victor's kind of an asshole. He pretty much had it coming anyway. And as soon as this mission is done, Victor looks like he's still going to try and continue his mission to one-up Kara and take the vessel for himself, or at least the information from it, when suddenly Kashin Koji appears from behind, throws a kunai directly into his chest, and completely destroys him with his fire-style jutsu, which completely negates any of the regeneration that Victor actually has. So, I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. This scene is really interesting, as in the manga version, this is the only thing that Victor ever did. He never had an entire arc devoted to himself. He was introduced in the meeting, and Kashin Koji killed him. That was the extent of it. And by them introducing Victor earlier on, giving him his own arc and motives, and teaming up with Deepa, they have made him a remarkably more interesting villain. And boy, now him getting killed just feels so much more satisfying outside of just some random-ass moment in the manga. This is an instance where I really think that the anime version of Boruto completely outclasses the manga in some other ways. I can't say that one is better than the other, but this was a moment that I think was done a lot of justice and felt way more natural. That scene in the manga when I read it was basically there just to establish that Kashin Koji is really powerful, but we didn't know why he was killing this old man, outside of the fact that he was just kind of a dick. Here, we actually know why. Asshole had it coming, and boy was it a great scene. And he lets Jigen know that that's actually what's going on here as he prepares to make his way to the blimp, as well as receiving the help of an outer member of Kara, whom you might have already seen already. So what's the rundown on both of these episodes of Boruto Naruto Next Generations? Loved both of these episodes. Even the Mugino one, which at first felt kind of unnecessary, but I'm glad that they're building up that character. I felt that maybe it was a little late to bring in this story. Maybe they should have done this before, the whole Victor arc. It seems a little weird to bring that in now. There might be another reason for that, but it remains to be seen. But the fact of the matter is, Mugino has ended up becoming, I think, one of the more interesting characters for the Boruto anime series. A character that technically already always existed in the background, but we just never really knew about him, and he never had any major scenes, but they've turned him into a surprisingly interesting guy. So yeah, Mugino, that's great. But really, it's that next episode, the Boruto versus Naruto fight and that Kara scene. Every single time Kara's on screen, it just sends a chill down my spine. I don't know what it is about the Naruto and Boruto franchise, but they just know how to do villains right and give them a lot of really great creepy atmosphere. That combined with their spine-chilling theme, which I think is just fantastic, I just think is really freaking awesome. That and their just overall visual of being being so mysterious, utilizing crazy technology, it makes them so different than any other villain group that we've actually seen from the franchise. Superficially, they're like the next generation Akatsuki, and most of that just has to do with the black cloaks and everything, but still, they're awesome. And we get to see a lot more of them in this episode. Like, we actually get to see one member whose name is Code, we get to see Boro, we get to see Delta, but Kashin Koji is the guy who kind of steals the show in this episode. Such a cool design with the mask and the white hair and the cool outfit and the cloak, and the fact that he's just so freaking cool looking. I don't know, he's just cool. That's the only way to put it. I just really love badass looking characters, and Kashin Koji is certainly one of my favorites and one of the best villainous characters that I've seen in a long time from the franchise. He's really great, and I'll just say this, keep an eye on this guy. He's kind of a big deal. And this was a pretty good batch of episodes here. I really liked both of these quite a bit. Even though I clearly liked the latest episode a lot more, I did like the Mugino one. Oh yeah, it's also worth mentioning, brand new opening, brand new ending, that's solid. It's a brand new year, so it makes sense to do this, and it's weird. It makes the last intro seem a little strange for the fact that we had all of our characters and scenes battling against members of Kara, which will never happen. It just looked really cool. It was there just to get you excited, and there's certainly more of that in this intro, but man, it's really great. The amount of action that they end up showing in this intro is nothing short of awesome, and there are also some pretty big spoilers for some of the major characters who are going to be appearing in this arc. There's already been previews for what this arc is going to be all about, so if you want to get spoiled, you can go out there and look for it. But what I will say is that this is what I think one of the best intros that we've seen from Boruto thus far. I'm very pumped to see a lot more of it. Not to mention, they're just taking all these visual cues from classic Naruto intros, and they're incorporating them with the major characters here. There's a shot of Boruto and this other mysterious character where they're both floating next to each other, and it's just like this one intro from Shippuden with Naruto and Sasuke. It's quite literally the same exact style. Again, playing homage to the classics, but also doing something new with it. Basically, what I'm saying is, I liked both these episodes. I cannot wait to see the next ones and where the rest of this arc is going. If there's ever a time to watch the Boruto anime, now is the time to do it. Check it out, guys. But I'd love to get your thoughts about this episode, both of these episodes, so make sure to sound off in the comment section below, telling me what you thought about both of them and what you hope to see from the rest of the series. Let's discuss it all, guys. Also, I just realized I was just reviewing Yashahime. I totally should have changed this background. Background changes aside, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. I know that there's a lot of reviews that I am behind on. They will be coming soon. Everything from a full comprehensive review of Akudama Drive to catching up with Jujutsu Kaisen, as well as a ton of other brand new reviews for anime this season. If there's a show that you guys want me to check out, please tell me what it is in the comment section below. If I have the time, I'll check it out. I also want to go ahead and take this time to thank all of my patrons. You guys are freaking incredible, watching my videos every day, leaving me great comments, liking the videos. But those monthly donations, I can't thank you enough for all of that. Remember, first-time donators, I'll review an anime series of your choice. I have a number of other Patreon reviews which are going to be coming up very soon in the coming weeks and months, so please make sure to stay tuned for that. I would also love to add your name to this list of amazing people. I've been getting a lot of new patrons lately. You guys are awesome. I'd love to add your name to this list, the producers of Ace Guru. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay down there, baby.